So have you ever had this happen, Mike?
No.
Well, I have. So you open up your closet, and it's like it's nothing but white clothes, and it's
What? Look at you right now. You have no white clothes.
I know,
Come on.
I know, but I had to find these. And the problem with white clothes is after Labor Day you can't wear them.
I know, it's terrible.
Well, imagine you're
gauche.
an astronaut.
Oh my gosh.
You open up your closet, it's like your own choices. It's nothing but white, right? I mean, well, what are you going to do?
And worse, you don't have the helmet. That's really bad.
I know. That matches. And worse, your spacesuits are 40 years old. And worse, NASA is years from being able to dress you up in a new suit.
That's so 1970.
It is, literally. I mean, get this. I didn't know this. It was really interesting. 18 spacesuits were made for the International Space Station environment. They were developed 40 years ago and have outlived their projected 15-year lifespan. They're 25 years overdue. Some haven't survived the wear and tear, so the agency is down to 11 out of the 18 of the functional suits, and 4 of those are kept on the space station. So can you imagine wearing something that is 25 years beyond its life expectancy, and you're going to wear it in space? Yeah, put on this. This suit should have been retired 25 years ago, but just go through the airlock out there into space. I'm sure it'll be fine. How bad can it be?
Jimmy Carter said it was fine.
It was fine, come on. And the other thing about those suits is they make your butt look so fat.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's awful.
Unfortunately, they can't hear you scream in space, so it's like, oh my God.
See, now we need that rum shot. We mentioned this again last time.
Oh, man. Okay, well, there is a reason for the spacesuit shortage, and it's kind of a complicated tale, according to Quality Digest, Taryn March, author of the article, Nothing to Wear in Space? The problem with the spacesuits involves several things. One of them is lead time. You need lots of it. Breakthroughs in material science, simulations, a lot of brainy bickering, right? And a lot of money, a whole lot of money. Not all of this last the money spent in a way that meets with NASA's Office of Inspector General's approval. There's a couple of problems facing NASA when it comes to spacesuits. One is that NASA hasn't kept sufficient track of several spacesuit design projects. The result is some $200 million spent in the past 10 years with not a whole lot to show for it. There are 3 separate design projects on the table at the moment. One is the Constellation spacesuit at about $136 million. The Advanced Spacesuit Project at $51 million. And the Orion Crew Survival System at $12 million. Now, and that's total costs on these spent so far. Now, the OIG, the Office of the Inspector General, weighed in heavily on the Constellation venture, and you might ask why. Well, in typical bureaucratic understatement ease, the OIG said that we question NASA's decision to continue funding a contract associated with the Constellation program after cancellation of that program. So, yeah, you can why are you guys still working on this thing that was canceled? It's kind of like, continuing research and development on, leisure suits or Crocs.
Somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to do it. Okay, that aside, the second problem, and I think this, the other one is usual budget stuff that, you hear about in government all the time. The real issue really for NASA is that they have a problem when it comes to designing for the next environment. What is the next environment going to be? Is it going to be Mars? Is it going to be the moon? Well, it turns out at this point in time anyway, it's going to be both, most likely. NASA has decided to send a crew around the moon in 2021, begin building a human outpost near the moon, or on the moon, or near the moon, on the moon, in the 2020s, and then send a mission to Mars once the outpost has been completed and lived in for a while. New suits are going to be required for each venture, but they have to be tested. And the International Space Station has been a good platform for that, but it's going away in 2024. Right. So I got to thinking about this. I mean, what a unique design challenge that NASA has. I mean, when you're trying to design something and you aren't really sure where it's going to be used, you need a place to test it, and in an environment that isn't very easy to replicate. And on top of all this, you have shifting budgets and shifting ideas of where space exploration should go
Right.
next. And this is constantly, I mean, every year you say, well, we're thinking of this, and then there'll be budget changes, and well, we've had to scale back, so now we're thinking about this. Oh, now we have a good budget. Oh, now we're thinking, and the designers are going, so, well, what in the heck am I doing? I mean, can you imagine just a regular manufacturing company?
Yeah.
You know, can you imagine even a high-tech one saddled with those kind of open-ended questions and trying to design?
And then you have administrations change too, and you have administrations change maybe every 4 or 8 years, and then in terms of which parties in place, and those parties to determine budgetary allocations. One of the hidden, and the small aside here, historically a small aside here, was one of the hidden benefits of the Apollo program. First the Mercury program, then the Gemini. I guess it was Gemini, Mercury, and then Apollo. Was that the fact that Democrats
Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo.
Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, yes, was the fact that Democrats were pretty much in office almost all that time.
Right.
It was Kennedy, and then it was Johnson, and then it was Nixon at the end, and it was Eisenhower for a little bit before that. But I mean, it was mostly Democrats. So when Kennedy said we're going to go to the moon and return man before 1970,
there was a budget.
Well, and LBJ was still a Democrat, was in office, and they committed to it. And now, if there had been a Republican in office in '64. Would we have gone to the moon? Or would that Republican, maybe Barry Goldwater, had said, we're going to pull a plug on this and we're not going to go to the moon. We don't need to. There's no payback for it.
Right.
Interesting kind of questions, but the fact is administrations do matter in terms of what the budgetary
and meanwhile, you've got these guys who've got to design a spacesuit. And
they're not thinking in terms of 4 or 8 years.
No, they're just thinking, so what kind of environment is this going to work in?
Well, and it's decades out. I mean, like you say, 2020s, 2030 for Mars. I mean, that's a long period of time.
That's a long period of time.
In political
And if
sense.
you start designing for that environment, then the plug gets pulled. Well, now is this knowledge that we've learned on designing this, is it transferable to a different environment? Is it money just down the tube like the Constellation project?
Right.
I don't know.
Interesting questions. Well, I mean, that's. I mean, I guess that NASA is going to be continuing to look at the question, and we'll continue to
continue spending money on it.
We'll report on it as it happens. All right, thanks, Dirk. All right.